Here to keep the chase going, share information, spread unity, preserve our heritage and our culture. We're trying to achieve something that you just can't catch. We're always trying to find a better way, trying to make better dogs. That's what Dixie Doggers Podcast is. That's who we are. All right, everybody. Nate and Joey back here, Dixie Doggers Podcast. Another one. We are trying to keep these things turned out just like a good old Saturday night special. Keep turning them out. We got a guest tonight with us. I've heard this name multiple times over the years. I say multiple, literally probably hundreds of times over the past 15 plus years. And this is the first time I've got to speak with him. And I should have already talked with this man before. Should have went and got some of them dogs. That way I'd have some that's worth a shit. So this guy right here is taking cur dogs to a little bit different level. He's put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and a lot of time and a lot of colon into this line of dogs that he has to make them what they are. And some of the guys out there are running some of his stock that I know personally, and it's good stuff. So without further ado, we got Mr. Kerry Brown on the horn with us tonight. Mr. Kerry, how you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for the introduction. That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said about me.
Well, you can give me that $20 later.
Okay.
Oh man. Tell us who you are and where you're from, and kind of give us a little backstory on how you got into the dogs and how you got started there.
Well, you already said my name, Kerry,
Yeah.
but I'm from Georgia, born and raised in Georgia. I guess growing up, I'm not from a hunting background. My parents weren't hunters. I was lucky enough that they knew that I had the bug early on, and they kind of directed my passion through outlets, finding people to take me hunting and stuff like that. That helped a lot growing up. But they were into sports and all that stuff, and I played a whole bunch of sports growing up. Played ball for Appalachian State University, played for the NFL for a very short time, about as long as it takes a bird toad to hit your windshield. And once I got out, once I got out of my house, about 17 years old, I was in college. I started just getting my own dogs and hunting. And I was lucky enough, I had a good bit of offers, but I wanted to go to Appalachian State in the mountains, plenty of woods to roam at that time. And I was fortunate enough to fall into a dog hunter, there's everywhere you turn, there's a dog box up there during the fall chasing bears. So I was lucky enough to have teammates and schoolmates that hunted with dogs, and they hunted bears and hogs and whatever like that. So I, fell into that early on and clung to them. And any chance I could get away from practice, I would. One of my great buddies, John Holt, we spent, hours. Every time we went playing football, we was talking dogs, and he's still running dogs to this day. I'm still running dogs, and we had the dogs we had early on were sorry as could be. I would find dumpster dogs, whatever it was, whatever that came up to, whatever I could catch, was feral, I'd run it. It just happy to be in the woods, wearing out boots, bears, hogs, whatever. And then after, my NFL career ended or whatever, I was training. I had my own gym. I was training professional athletes. I was training everybody from average Joes. I trained over, I'd say in my history there, probably 5,000 different people.
Wow.
Professional bull riders, half the Atlanta Falcons at one point in time during the lockdown. So I was training a whole bunch of different people, and that carried over. And I don't know if it carried over or if that was just something ingrained in me in the sports background, understand the psychology. I was a strength coach, and trying to motivate somebody from Miami and try to motivate somebody from Western North Carolina are two different motivators. And that's kind of what I carried over into raising dogs, is you know, trying to get the best out of them. That helped me a good bit. But I have a great family, great wife that, you know, she lets me hunt as much as I want. I do push the limit at times, but she feeds dogs when I'm not here, which is a huge plus. And she's a breadwinner, but she's a bread maker. But I've just been running dogs for over 20 years, and every day I wake up and, you know, get up, I'm just grateful to be here, still doing it.
Hey man, having a dog career that long from a non-hunting family that's pretty damn awesome right there. I think within itself,
especially since I was raised with miniature poodles. That's what my mama had. I couldn't stand them dogs. They wouldn't hunt nothing. No, I tried to get them when I was a kid, hunt lizards or whatever. They didn't want nothing to do. They just wanted biscuits or whatever.
That
so
sounds
I was like, you know, my mama's always mad. She's like, you got too many dogs. I'm like, well, if you'd have given me a real dog when I was young, I might have done this scratch early on and killed it. But, you know, it amplified over the years. Now I got dogs everywhere, you know, 30 acres worth of dogs.
Yeah. They ain't, how many dogs do you keep on average, you think, on your yard?
Oh God. I try to keep somewhere in today's times, you know, with my purpose, what I want to do is have a line of dogs. I just want to just have a good set of dogs. I want dogs that can reproduce themselves. And so I try to keep, in today's modern times, there's not enough lifetime a man can have to hunt off dogs he wants to raise. So I try to only keep about 17 to 25 dogs at a time.
Yeah.
Once I get over that, I start wasting dogs. They might sit a little too long on a chain, get stale, and I don't want that to happen. So I've been, you know, it's never been, in the last 15 years, it hasn't been hard for me to find good dogs. I've been breeding them and raising them, but it's been hard to find good dog men. And I've been grateful to find a few of them that I can do breedings with or place dogs with. I don't sell dogs by any means.
Yes.
But I will place dogs with people that I know will do that dog right. And that way I can judge a whole litter, make sure that litter's consistent. I don't want to breed back to a litter that is inconsistent. If there's only one or two dogs that make it out of that litter, I don't want to breed back to it.
Yes.
So it's been a huge, you know, the cost of living, the cost of these dogs, just the time, the gas money to get out there and make sure you're doing right by the dogs. It's wonderful to have. And they don't know who they are. I don't, you know, thank you for, y'all know who y'all are. Thank you so much for helping me with this, you know, raising these dogs up and giving me great feedback. I've had to call just as many dogs as I've had to call just as many people as I have dogs. I mean, that's the sad thing. You send a lot of dogs to a promising person and they just, whatever, doesn't work out. But the ones that have worked out, I'm very lucky to have, I'm blessed to have, and I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to do that. I was telling you earlier, you know, I don't like to sell any dogs at all. And I actually put some up for sale. And I had probably 25 people in the first 10 minutes contact me. And I was really surprised at what they were asking. Very few people asked, you know, well, what, you know, explain to me what they do or this or that or anything. There was two people that asked about the dogs and what they are, how they hunt, the lineage, how they're bred up, all this stuff. The other 20 asked, do you have any pictures and how much? That was it.
Yeah.
So I limited.
People would just want to get them to pedal them off somewhere else.
Yes.
You know, I mean,
that's all it was. And I talked to a couple of young guys they're from down there around Fargo, and we talked. And if I was going to send those dogs to somebody, it would probably be those two young guys there, because they were genuinely asking the right questions about the right things. And like I said, a lot of times I'll put something out there and I'll put a big price tag on it, and you never know, I might just give it to them, you know, because I don't like to sell dogs. But at the same time, I've had trouble just giving dogs away because people are like, well, what's wrong with them?
Dog away.
Yeah. What's wrong with them? There ain't nothing wrong with it. I was just, I didn't know if you
that's
had that
society.
problem.
Everything's got a monetary price on it now versus it just being about, this is my passion. This is a way of life. I don't like and I'm not going to lie. I've probably sold a handful of dogs in my life. Usually it was an astronomical amount of money that I needed. I just couldn't say no to at the time.
Yep.
And I'd done the breed with the dogs, I'd say maybe 3 or 4 times in my life. And I mean, we're talking, $10,000+ for the dog. And I was okay, and in my luck, that dog would just get struck by lightning out there in the dog yard the next day. But at the same point in time, I've given more good dogs away to people. And what you want is somebody that who understands what they're getting. Like, I'm giving you this dog. I want you to have as much hunt as this dog's going to have. And I need you to wear pads out hunting it and give me feedback and do right by it and maybe do some breedings down the road. But it's hard to find that. It's just, how this the world, we were talking earlier, the worst people in this sport are dog peddlers and, people who haven't had dogs for 5 years and they won't have dogs 5 years from now. Those do the more damage to the sport. I think people ask me, why don't you sell dogs? And I've been taken advantage of when I was in my teens from peddlers, chasing papers and whatever. And it got burnt. And I was like, I'm never going to, if I got to make my money on selling dogs, then I'd rather sell drugs or something. It just ain't worth it.
No, I agree with you 100%. I went through the same stuff. I think most guys that have been in this stuff for extended periods of times and that deal with a lot of numbers of dogs, they've dealt with that at some point in time, and that's why they don't want to sell dogs. And I know you've probably said it before, just like you just said now. It's like, if you think you're going to make a living selling dogs, then you're in the wrong deal. You're in it for the wrong reason. It's definitely different than what we do. Because I can't. I don't know. Number one, my dogs ain't worth the shit. So that says a lot.
Yeah.
So now, what do you normally hunt with those dogs? What's your main game that you run with them?
The main game I'm running now is hogs, but I run bears with them, blood trailing. I've worked cows with them, and the dogs are chassis as hell, so they're going to run. Well, they're going to run whatever they want to run early on until you direct them.
Yeah.
To what you want. But that's what I've kind of always, I run cur dogs. And I say cur dogs, I mean, they're not Weatherford band, they're not, papered cur dogs. They're dogs that, I guess there's the background of, there's a couple different breeds early on, or more, not so much breeds, but line of dogs. Good bit of Catahoula from Sam Mason's in there. And when I say these breeds, I'm not a big fan of breeds by any means. I'm a fan of lines. And people need to wake up and realize that, like, 99% of the Catahoulas I wouldn't feed. But if there's a man out there that's raising them and culling them and everything else, those will be some good dogs, no matter what breed he's feeding. If he's got purpose and he's culling and doing everything he's doing right,
correct,
that'll be a good line of dogs. So for me, there's Catahoula mixed in. There's some Doughbilly stock dogs put in. There's some East Texas stock line thrown in there a little bit. There's some house lipper bred Walker put in there 25 years ago. And there is some really high class plot dogs that have been in there, that I'm starting to actually probably put more into now. But whatever, I've always wanted a dog to be like, kind of a Swiss Army knife. I want to run this. Great. Let's go run it. Especially early on when I first started hunting, I was happy to catch a possum. I mean, I didn't really care what we was doing. I was just happy to catch something. And then as I've progressed as a dog man, and had more purpose for the dogs, like this is what I'm after, you start reading the dogs and breeding for certain things. And that's kind of where I've come up now with them. But yeah, the close side of them. They would run the hell out of a bear. They'd fight a bear, but they wouldn't tree. So I threw some plot in there, and those are doing great. Just to add a little bit more. They'll tree on a bear if it's on a short tree, but if it's 100 feet up there and they can't see it, those cur dogs will leave and go find something else to run. So, I've been trying to just make a dog that's applicable to whatever I want to do. And for the most part, they've been good to me. I've been pretty blessed with them.
Yeah, I've seen that in the past few years. There's 2 or 3 guys that I know that have been doing this a long time, and they're doing a very similar thing. That, like you said, they're taking not so much as concentrating on a specific breed, but they're taking different lines of dogs that are really good and combining them to just, to make a multi-purpose dog, make a meat dog. That's what it is.
Meat dogs.
Take it to
meat dogs is what's conquered. That's how we conquered the Appalachian was through meat dogs,
Yep.
So a meat dog is where it's at as far as I'm concerned. I breed for certain traits and all that, but the biggest thing is that, I chased papers early on and I was always disappointed, especially on the cur dog side of things. And once you realize a lot of those papers are
bullshit,
being pushed, bullshit, and they're being peddled and just sold off papers, I culled through a bunch of them, and I just you take those blinders off and just go, all right, this is a dog, that's a dog, they're at a good line, I'm just going to go from here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. That's worked out the best for me, and I'm not going to stop doing it. I keep track of all the breedings. I line breed the hell out of them, and I keep track of I have papers on the dogs, but as far as registered dogs, I don't mess with them too much.
Yeah, it seems like it was a very disappointing thing for us as well years ago when there was a couple of lines of cur dogs that I really wanted, and I just, once I got, like I said, I was chasing paper. I needed it bred a certain way, and I had to cull every one of them that I got, and it was like I'm wasting money.
Yeah.
And wasting a lot of time. I can make some more money. I can't make any more time. And
the time is, you can't get that back.
Exactly. And when you give 2 years at a time to them, and done it every way I could, I try to start them early. Let the dog tell me when it wants to start, or I'd let it sit up and mature longer. I'd spend more time with it, less time with it. I'd leave them running loose. I'd have them in same thing you've done. And then the end result is it was all a bunch of bull. And I had what I needed out there already. And honestly, like some of the best dogs I ever ran was part Kimmer cur, part mountain cur, had a little bit of hound in it, a little bit of bulldog or bird dog. And so that was the meat dogs.
Yeah, and if you look back at every dog breed, that's how every dog breed gets started, is a mixed mash of everything that they had. I mean, everybody likes to say plot dogs. Original plot dogs were more cur-like than anything.
Yes.
And, and now they've gotten houndier over the years, and there's very few lines of plot dogs that'll even bother feeding.
What would be your lines for plot dogs if a guy was wanting to get something good?
Well, if a guy was wanting to get them, I don't know if he could get them, but I've been blessed that going to school at Appalachian State, I had connections where, a lot of the guys I went to school with, their dads were legendary plot guys.
Yes.
And at that time, did I realize it? No, I just realized they had they make bear hunting look easy. And it ain't easy.
No.
Trust me, especially in the mountains, it ain't easy. I mean, you got 20-mile races and all that, but they make those dogs. I didn't realize how good those dogs were until, and that's like, oh man, plots. All right, that's good. I'll go get a plot from somebody else that's willing to give me one, and it never panned out at all. And it was because of the breeding they've done, and it's a tight-knit circle. But if I was going to name some names, it'd be, Roy Clark, Ira Jones, Mike Colley, Ricky Reinhardt, Long Mountain Plots, hell, Houston Valley. Ben Jones has done a phenomenal job resurrecting Houston Valley plots. I've hunted with the Tarletons and all that early on, and as far as I can tell, he's taken over the reins of that program. He's done a great job with it. Mike Colley, the valuation plots. It's hard to get those dogs, but if you can get them, it's worth it. You just got to pester the hell out of those old men, and you'll come up with something eventually. If you're really in, they know, they'll call you out before anything. They'll know if you're serious about it.
Yeah.
You know, if you go up there and hunt with them and really put in the time to get to know them, they'll know if you're serious about it. And hell, they'll give you more. They'll keep you fed with more dogs than anything once they realize that there's somebody you can trust. And
exactly,
that's in it. That's the biggest thing. Is it takes work to get. You got to pay your dues. It takes work to get into that circle. Once you're in that circle, you know, there you go. Be grateful for it. But it takes a lot of work to get in there.
Yeah, and that's what you were saying that, you know, you're doing now is you're passing the torch like that. Now you've got this line of dogs you're working and you're accomplished. And now you're putting them out with these guys that are going to run them and give you good feedback. And like you said, you have to cull more people or as many people as you do dogs, probably more people than dogs now, I'm sure. And
yeah,
because you can't, 100%. If somebody gets a dog from you, and say you just just whoever get it, first thing they do is they go to breeding it and telling everybody, hey, I got this dog. And that, you know, that's the biggest no there is. And I don't understand why people do that. They get something from somebody else who's worked and established it. First thing they do is say, oh yeah, I'm putting these dogs out there. No, you're not putting those dogs out. All you're doing is breeding something that somebody else already made and probably screwing it up 99% of the time.
We'll be back after a quick break.
And now, thanks to the sponsors and friends of Dixie Doggers. Animal Housing Solutions.
Boars N Broads.
Crockett Taxidermy.
Hardcore Hog Dogs.
Southern Cross Cut Gear.
Ada Y Transport.
4L Kennels.
The American Doghorn Museum.
Unique Hounding Hunting Supply.
Hogbaying.com.
Tuskers Magazine.
Mud Creek Hog Dog Trials.
Oh, I mean, without a doubt. I mean, once you take, and that's always, I've always been told by the guys I've respected and still respect, some of them still living, but, you know, try to be, there's three types of dogmen. There's a dogman that knows how to hunt, the best hunter can find. There's a dog man that's a hell of a trainer that can get any dog going. And there's the dog man that is the breeder. And what I've tried to do is be a little bit of all of them. The hunter part of me, I'm still hunting a good bit. I'm not chasing trophies like I was when I was young and dumb, but I'm probably more to the breeding aspect, and I'm trying to create dogs that really don't take a whole lot of training involved. It's just their genetic instincts take over. But I've given dogs away, and then people turn around and sell them for thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, within a week of giving that dog away, or I've given dogs back, and I tell people, like, you can't be the first person I've ever repossessed, dogs from,
That's
but
right.
You can always be next.
Yep.
So I've repossessed dogs from people and just seen that a great dog I've given to somebody just ruined because people don't understand dogs. You know, they're caught up in the dog hunter war or whatever you want to call it, just a macho mentality of look at me on social media, look at what I'm doing. You know, I'm out here, they're bragging to people who don't really dog hunt, just to like, look at me, look what I'm sticking hogs with a knife. What you do, we all do.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, I really flock to people who are like, wow, you understand the psychology of dogs, you understand the breeding of it. That's hard to find. It really is. And I think it's always been hard to find. There's never been, I think there's more dog hunters now than there ever has been, but I think the ratio of good dogs and dogmen has stayed the same. It's just not many out there.
I agree with that. There's no doubt. Like understanding the psychology, I think, is very, very. It's very hard to find anybody in today's time. I mean, I know a few guys, but understanding a dog psychology, there's so many that don't. And some of those guys are the guys they can hunt. I mean, they can hunt and they can even breed up some dogs, but it's not the same.
And you can tell off, and they get caught up with. A lot of those guys get caught up with, look at these trophies I caught. I must know what I'm doing. I'm like, it ain't about the trophies. It's look at the dogs. For me, I've killed I don't know how many animals. It ain't about killing for me anymore. And if it is all about killing for you, it ain't gonna last long.
No.
You got to find when you're in the lifetime of running dogs, you've got to find there has to be more areas of this hobby, this passion, whatever you want to call it, that attract you. If it's just killing, purpose. If it's just killing things, that's going to get filled up pretty quick. So for me, it's always been about the dogs, the friendships along the way. And, I miss my old dogs that have been dead and gone. But that's why I line breed, because I can see glimpses of them come back in these, the next generations. I can see that dog again. And I love that. I love being like, hey, that reminds me of this old dog that I had been dead 10 years, whatever.
Yeah.
I love not losing that. And that's what we talked about earlier is I hope that I can, I give these dogs out and find people. I hope they carry on the torch of this dogs and breeding and all that, because I do not want to take them to my grave. Yeah. I want them to carry on. Even if they outlaw dogs hunting altogether, I want to give them to outlaws. You go run these dogs and breed them.
There you go. Now we were talking about, the basis of your this cur dog that you have. It's got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and all that in it. A little bit of hound, and different breeds. What's the basically? I guess you'd say the foundation as far as the cur goes. What is it? Catahoula, black-mouthed cur, or mount cur, or what's the absolute reason or the whole basis of it? You know what I'm saying? If you could look at it and say a cur dog, what would you compare it to? Now it had the most in.
I'd say altogether, it's more of like if you took the best from the cur and you took some traits from the hound and mixed it together. They've been line bred for so long now. There's not really a high percentage of breed left over.
So it's more like the old school plot, like original plot dog. Would you say?
Yeah, I would say so.
More of a cur style hound.
They're cur style hounds with a lot more stock tips. That's the biggest thing is that I've never, and I'm sure somebody's out there who can, but I've never been beaten in the hogwoods by a straight hound. And especially once you start relaying, getting into wanting to catch numbers.
Yeah.
In the bear woods, a hound is great. You're going to have a hard time finding a cur dog that can beat a sure enough hound in the bear woods. But with stock sense and learning how to bay, and the biggest thing for me is I got nose. I breed for nose. Probably the biggest thing I breed for is heart, brains, conformation, and the conformation leads to, being able to tolerate. I want them to be fast. I want them to have a nose, but I don't want the coldest nose out there. I don't want basically a trail dog that's just, I can't stand a dog that just straddles the track. I want something that picks its head up and has track speed. I want my nose up, that hog's ass, hopefully putting teeth in it. The hardest thing that's been breeding consistently, and a lot of guys will probably get this if they've been doing it a while, is consistent grit. And I say grit, early on I had rough dogs, the anxiety of getting to I like dogs that range out and hunt. Well, rough, that doesn't go well a lot of times. So I got the anxiety of like, oh, I'm a mile away. I've got to get through this horrible, or I'm 100 yards away. It takes me an hour to get there because it's just the worst thing you've ever been through.
Yeah.
I hated not being able to relax. I love a bay, and I love my catch dogs to do their job and go there and catch. And my cur dogs, they're not going to, a lot of times, once they get some age on them, they're not even going to help that catch dog. They're going to leave and go relay somewhere else. They're not going to waste time on the catch. Like, as soon as they see that catch dog hit, they're gone. They're finding something else. So for me, you know, track speed, brains, but the grit has been the hardest part because it's such a fine line of having a dog that's too gritty, or he's real gritty. He's great by himself, but God, if a songbird farts too loud, the chihuahua shows up, he's going to catch out.
Yeah.
So, you know, I really like to have dogs that, you know, if I get 3 dogs in there, they're still not going to be too catchy. Do I always get that? No. Sometimes I get them too loose. Sometimes I get them too rough, but I'm always trying to breed that fine line of grit that has enough grit to stop a hog. There's 3 ways to stop game. It's either you can run the lungs out of that game, you can catch that game, or you can piss that game off and rip its nuts out and make them sit there and not want to run no more.
Yeah.
So I like ripping its nuts out and not, you know, just getting bayed. The dog understands how much pressure he needs to put on that to keep it there. If that hog is not running, I want that dog to be bayed. And if that hog runs, I want him to be like a yellow jacket on that hog's ass. But if he's not, what I can't stand is bay busters putting pressure on the hog that's comfortable bayed, waiting on me to get there with the catch dog. So that's been the hardest thing to breed for, because that takes, there's so many variables in grit. It takes brains, but there's so many variables in, you know, how that dog's raised is how it might be how gritty he is. So it's been the hardest thing to consistently breed for. I think I've done well by it, but it's still a work in progress. That, you know, every time I think I got this breed thing figured out, you know, God shows me a whole litter of coals or something like that, and I'm like, damn, sure enough, how this litter was going to turn out. I tell people I got 90% percentage on these dogs. It's either 90% of them are going to turn out or 90% of them are going to be cold.
Well, I mean, there's your purpose right there. You're trying to find that right amount of grit. I know some guys, they're trying to find that right amount of nose, and some of them want that right amount of stamina, you know, being able to run a hog they don't want any grit. They want it to stand back 20 feet, don't put no teeth in it, but be able to run it for 12 hours in 100+ degree heat. That's great if you got all the property in the world. Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Today's climate, there's more property lines than there ever has been.
Yep. I know some guys that's got big properties like that, Kerry, and they love it. That's all they want to do.
Too. I'd love it.
I don't know. It drives me crazy. Dude, a couple weeks ago, Carter come down there and hunted with us at Henry Williams, and we ran a hog for like 5-6 hours that morning. I was about to go crazy. I was like, let's just turn these running catch dogs loose and shut him down.
Yeah. Now, where were y'all?
Down there, Henry's Milan, Georgia. So down there around Henry's place, big properties.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we drove around for 2 days, and we didn't see anywhere that we couldn't hunt. You know, that's great. It's not like that where we're at. I've got 1,000 acre spot, and then I got 1,200 here, maybe 800 over here. You know, so it's a lot of our stuff has to be a little rougher. We got to stop it quick, or we got to get away from it.
Yeah, and that for me, that's why I like the color in the dogs, is it gives them star sense. It also gives them handle. When it's time to go home, I want to go home.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of straight hounds and stuff like that, they hunt for themselves. They don't give a damn if you're there or not.
No.
That cur aspect of them, you know, let me have more control over the hunt. When it's time to go home, or if I get to a hog, I can call him off the hog. You know, let's say that hog is just bad to the bone. It's in a spot that the dog's going to get killed or something's going to happen. I'll call him off. Hell, I'll shoot the hog if I want to, or I might just call him off and run that hog a different day.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing for me. You know, I want them to rig. That's another thing the hound adds to the curs. Those curs will rig, but you got to be watching them. I mean, you know, straight cur ain't going to give mouth on a rig. You have to watch them, let them pull that chain, let them, you know, they might whine a little bit, but that hound influence allows them to, like, speak up, like, hey, stop this buggy, stop this truck. There's something here I want to run. I love to put dogs on the track. I love finding a big old track and putting them on it. And the biggest thing I love is free casting. I love to free cast dogs. And where I live and where you live, I mean, it's hot damn near 6 months out of the year, if not more.
Yeah.
I want heat tolerant dogs that can run in humidity and just run throughout every dog has its limits, but there's certain dogs that can just run all day long, even in the summertime. And that's what I tried to breed for. But if you got really rough dogs, it's like, just like I always tell people, I was like, these dogs are a mix between a wrestler and a cross country. Like they're really good at, if they need to catch, they'll catch. They're really good at running. But, if you go wrestle, there's 3 periods in that, you'll be dead. You'll be just as tired. You'll probably be more tired than you are the cross country guy that finishes race.
That's right.
So that's why I like them. That's why I like them. When I have rough dogs, I'd catch 1 or 2 hogs, they'd be gassed out because they're expending so much energy catching that hog for me. Whereas if they're bays, they're not spending so much energy. The bulldog is, and he's only going to do it for as long as it takes me to get there and leg that hog.
Yep. So
that's what I love, the traditional lead-in bulldog with bay dogs. I know there's a lot of guys I'm not knocking anything. We run rough dogs, loose dogs, whatever, have at it. Just be a good, be good to the sport. It'll be good to you. But this is just what I prefer, especially as I'm getting older. I love walking to a bay, listening to the dogs sing.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I would rather walk to a bay now than run to a dog that's caught. But like I said, there's still certain times where it's like, okay, depending on where we're at, and we're lucky enough to have, a couple of packs of dogs to be able to do that with. Not everybody's able to do that. And so, like I said, I consider myself very lucky to do that. But at the same time, we put in a lot of time, effort, money to be able to have it. So, I talked to a couple of guys today, and they said they had some really good bay dogs, and they were they were just enough to stop a hog. And he's like, I want to get a dog, one of them rough dogs like that. I was like, no, I said, man, look, these aren't just like rough. These are pretty much run and catch. I said, you don't need this dog. Well, why not? I was like, you're going to mess those dogs up. I said, you got a good thing going. You just need to get you something else to put with it. Because they were, they were young, and they just wouldn't, they're just young is all it was. And I told him, I said, if you got a dog that will consistently take a track, and the dogs were, he just drop them out and they dry cast out a half a mile or more already. I'm like, and they're just over a year old. I was like, dude, like, do not get these dogs. I don't care if you got however much money. I won't sell them to you because I know better. Yeah, I know what's going to happen. And he was like,
"Oh, he's gonna get everything killed."
Yes, he's gonna mess them dogs up. And if they don't get killed right off the bat, it's only a matter of time. And if they're just rough enough to put teeth on them now, and they're still young and impressionable, well, hell, they'll think they're Superman in another 6 months.
Yep, just be patient.
Yep, and I wish more guys would do that instead of trying to help the next guy. But now, of course, there's always those people that know everything. You can't tell them nothing. And, I try not to even talk to them. But if somebody gets in a situation like that, those rough dogs are just, I've caught a bunch of hogs with them, but it's just not worth it sometimes.
And I respect a rough dog. And there's nothing, a rough dog that has a clean hold. I've had them. Florida curs, you name them. I've gone through some dogs. I respected them.
Right,
I loved them.
What's a rough dog to you, Kerry? I've been talking about this for the past couple of weeks. What's a rough dog? If I called you, and you know I've been doing this for 20 years, and I run dogs that's gonna stop a hog, and I call you and say, hey, I got some real rough dogs for sale, or I got a pair of real rough dogs. Are you interested in? What are you gonna think I'm talking about?
Well, it goes 2 ways. There's 2 ways to answer it. Are you hunting a big pack of dogs, or are you hunting just 1 or 2 dogs at a time? If you're only hunting 1 or 2 dogs at a time, you say you got some rough dogs, and that's how I used to hunt them. I never really turned loose a big pack. Where by himself, that dog, if he's getting his ass whooped, he might bay. As soon as his buddy gets there, pack mentality takes over. They're going to kick out. That's what I consider a rough dog.
Yep.
Once you get into the bigger pack, there's a lot of guys who run packs of rough dogs, and they think they got a bulldog that's worth a tooth.
Mhm.
That bulldog really ain't having to do much because all the rough dogs is really catching us things. But
Yep.
once you get into a pack of rough dogs, how rough are they really? Who's
Mhm.
really instigating it? You know,
That's
by
right.
what are they doing? The traditional Florida cur way is kind of where I think of rough dogs that are rough, clean hold style. They're going to suck their sides to that hog side and not really fight the hog, but just kind of move with it,
Yeah.
not getting killed every damn hog they catch.
That's
They
right.
might get cut, but they're learning.
Thank you.
That's what I consider a good rough dog.
That's right.
And I respect them, and Lord knows I've gotten tired of hogs before just getting outran or whatever, and I've packed rough dogs to them just like, I'm going to put an end to this.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. We do the
And
same
there's nothing
thing.
wrong with that.
No.
You're using it where it needs to be used, and there's nothing wrong with rough dogs. I love listening to a bay.
Mhm.
The stuff I hunt is nasty as hell, so it's hard to get in there, especially as I'm getting older. I can't run through a briar patch like I used to. I'm not exactly a small person,
Mhm.
6'7", so it's not like it's
Yeah.
not easy for
Well,
me.
the reason I
So-
was saying that is, like I said, there's today's society of guys that are running hog dogs. A lot of them, when you say rough dog, they're describing what a bay dog is to me. It'll
Yeah.
put a little teeth on their ass and make them stop and turn around.
No, that ain't rough. That's just gritty.
That's a good bay. That's a good bay dog. You know,
Yeah.
a dog that's gonna make the hog take a bay. Now,
Yeah.
once and like you said, they don't necessarily have to catch with another dog or none of that. They can relay, get their ass out there and do what they're supposed to do. But
But they need to pressure that hog into
Yes.
stopping by pulling on that back
and
hide.
that's
you
just
know.
that's just a good, to me, that's a good bay dog. That's a dog that can
Yeah.
get it done. Now, if you say loose bay dog or a loose dog, well, he's not going to do all that. He's going to be a lot easier.
No, he's a mosquito in your face. That's what
right.
a loose bay dog is.
And then when you say rough dog, or if I describe a dog and say, now these are real rough, well, that's a run and catch dog.
Yeah, I'm
That's-
expecting his body to look like a road map if he's
Yeah,
been in it 4 years.
exactly. And that's what I was getting, and that's why I was asking that, because I was like, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just me, because the guys that I was raised around and that hunted with over the years, that's our perception of it. And I'm sure there's a lot of listeners out here that's their same perception. I'm sure there's a lot of young guys, listeners out there, that they needed to hear that part, because just because somebody says, hey, I got a rough dog up for sale, or hey, I'll give you a rough dog, you might not need that dog, because
No.
my rough and your rough is different than theirs. Because if I tell them, hey, here's a rough dog to put in your pack, they're wanting something that's going to grab a hog and make it turn around and take a bay. I'm giving them something they're going to catch this hog.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
But anyway, like you said, all of them have their places, and if you utilize them correctly, you can do it. If you run several of them, you can do it and be very successful,
Oh,
without a
it
doubt.
does.
But you can't run nothing
Yeah.
else. That's all you can run.
In my experience, the looser dogs, your true bay dogs, always get messed up or killed. If you run them with rough dogs,
Yep.
it feels like those looser dogs get hurt more than the rough dogs themselves.
I agree.
And for me, a lot of people don't realize that. Like, I'm just sending this rough dog in, and, like, no, the longer it takes you to get to that catch, your looser dogs, especially if you got a great dog with a great nose and whatever, everything you want him to be, he's probably going to get killed first.
Yes.
That's just the way it goes. And that's what I've had to learn just by doing it, and watching other people do it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But it's just like, damn, I probably shouldn't have sent that dog in there. But,
Yep.
and that's what people go, what's the difference between a rough dog and a catch dog? A catch dog is going to die at home no matter what. He's never going to let a true catch dog is just going to be caught, and you can stick him 100 times, whatever, you drown him, he's going to die on that hog.
Yes.
A rough dog, to me, should, if he's by himself, hopefully goes man, I'm getting my ass whooped. I can't hold this thing. Let me just bay a little bit and wait till
Get some
friends
help.
get here.
Yep. And
Yeah.
that's
Get
the
somebody.
same thing. Yeah. We've had them
and that,
where you go in there and you hear them and we done this one night. We had several rough dogs, and there was 2 of them that broke off, and they went in there and both of them bastards started baying. We all looked at each other. Everybody just kind of just stopped. And I was like, boys, what are we going to do? And the guys that was with us said, what do you mean? I said, those dogs have never bayed at all, ever. It's like, we just looking at each other. It was like, what do we do? And of course we dumped the box. Let's try it, because we're real smart, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, that's what I was done. I'd be like, well, hell, son, this is the roughest dogs we got. But Marc, give them some help.
We turned them all loose, and it was a damn mess, buddy. But we got it caught, and it was a bad dude, ain't no doubt. And we stapled and put a lot of dogs back together that night, but that was on us. The dogs were smart enough to say, hey, we can't catch this damn thing right here by ourselves. But as soon as they had a little bit of help, they forgot about barking.
Oh, yeah. And that's, I'd never seen more than 4 dogs bay in my life until I moved to Texas.
Yeah.
And I moved to Texas, and I seen 12 dogs bay a hog. I said, God, if I turn 12 of my dogs loose, they're going to catch a rhino.
Hell yeah.
And till this day, they will. My dogs really thrive on pack mentality. The more dogs you pack in there, the more confidence they get.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like when I used to go out to bars. I was a big dude, and fighting one dude wasn't no big deal, but hell, they'd pack in there, and it made a hell of a challenge. Once they got in there, they didn't mind jumping me then.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. They all got on it.
Yeah, they all got a piece of me. But, that goes back to the psychology of things, understanding what triggers a dog to do what. And, a lot of guys will have a bayed hog and be like, I'm going to send this dog to it. I will never, rarely ever, if a hog is dog bayed, I will never pack to it. A lot of guys do. I don't. I caught more big hogs with just one dog.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt. Like, we try not to ever do that. If it's bayed, when we went down there with Cody Godwin, we had hunted all night, and like we really had one good race, and the hog was bayed, and all them dogs were just sitting in the box. We had one dog out, and I looked at Carter. Carter looked at me. He's like, "You gonna dump him?" I was like, "Yeah, let's have another race," and we just opened the door. And Cody Godwin, he was just a grinning. He was like, well, you know what's going to happen. I was like, oh, without a doubt. But let's let him get a little exercise.
Yeah.
And now, if we'd have been catching hog after hog, wouldn't be. But believe this or not, this is the craziest thing. That hog didn't go another 40 yards. We thought they were really going to bay, but no. It broke, and they had it stretched out real quick. And them gallberries down there are thick.
Oh, yeah, it's bad down there. I hunt down there a good bit.
Fargo.
Everything down there, if it's got legs and farts, it gets ran by a dog. That's one of the hardest places. People think South Georgia, all hog population, I was like, Southeast Georgia is different than the rest of South Georgia. And the bears, deer, hog, you name it, squirrels, whatever, it knows what a dog is.
Yes.
From the time it's born till the time it gets caught by dogs.
There's dog boxes in every truck.
You'll never see more dog boxes in your life down there in Fargo.
No,
everybody, your grandma's got one down there. Yep. Yeah.
And today I had, out of those 20-something people that contacted me about some dogs, there was over half of them where they hunt in Fargo. It blew my mind. I was like, what in the hell?
Well, I hunt, if you pull up to a gas station and see a dog box, usually but you go to Fargo, hell, most of them boys from Florida or somewhere else, they don't even know each other. And it's crazy how much, and I love Fargo because it's dog hunting first, still hunter second.
That's right.
And I love that about that area. Clinch County is great. I go down there and we run bears. Our bear season is only 4 weeks long, but we run the hell out of bears in the morning, hogs in the evening. Yep. But it's a great time, and it's, you know, I love it. It's just rare to go somewhere and be like, hell, I'm one of everybody else out here just running dogs.
That's
it's just
right.
great. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it. I like being alone. I like hunting. Most of my hunting, especially when I was younger, by myself or just with one or two people.
Mm-hmm.
I love that style, but I love going down there in Fargo and hunting with a big group of people. And, you know, bear hunting's just organized chaos anyways. I mean, it's just a bunch of people on radios bitching at each other and hopefully get this bear stopped.
Yeah. We got to tree a bear when we was down there with some guys, or they treated. All we did was we got to go down there when they had it treed. And it was, like you said, it was definitely different. And believe those guys, their sons actually called me today as well. And they were like, hey, you went hunting with my dad down there. Y'all treated a bear. And I was like, where are you from? He's like, we hunt down there in Fargo. I was like, are you, what the hell? I was like, that place down there, dude, is, like you said, when it comes out of the womb, or when it's born, it's got a dog on its ass.
Oh my God. And they could run.
Yes.
I mean, them hogs down there could run. They'll run you right down Okefenokee Swamp and you'll be there for 2 days trying to get your dogs back.
Yep.
If the gators don't get them. I mean, it's a rough place. People don't.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's one extreme. That's one extreme of hunting I do. And then I go to the mountains and it's the next extreme where, I mean, dogs are falling off cliffs. I mean, you know, the mountains. If a dog can do it in the mountains, a dog can do it in Clinch County. There's not anywhere else in this world he can't do it at.
Yep.
I mean, and that's what I, you know, it's easy to raise dogs and have a line of dogs that always do well where you live and hunt at. But the biggest thing is to get them out there. I lived in Texas for a little bit. I've hunted, you know, I hunt North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida a little bit, you know, Texas a lot. And for these same pack of dogs, you know, same line of dogs to excel in every state is what I've always wanted. And it's because a good dog is where you find it. You know, you can take a dog that might be great in Florida, you go put him in the mountains, he ain't ever going to do nothing. You know, it's just a different way of hunting. And that's where I've tried to have a dog that's versatile in different climates and environments on different game and still produce meat. That's the biggest thing of the day is I might not catch anything tomorrow. I'll go run dogs tomorrow. I might not catch anything tomorrow, but as long as the dogs is hunting and doing a good job, I'm happy. You know, and I hunt a lot of places too that it's hard to find a hog, but it's big property, big swamps, and hard to stop them. They've just been ran by deer dogs and everything else their whole lives.
Yeah, that like we hunt a lot in the hills and a lot of big properties like that, and there's not a lot of hogs.
No,
and
it's hard living in the hills. It's hard living.
It is, and the dogs. When you get in a big population of hogs, they don't have any problem finding them. Like I said, Fargo's the only place that ever give us. And I ain't going to say it wasn't a problem finding the hogs. That was not an issue at all. The dogs it took them a day, that whole first night, to really figure out, hey, what these hogs are doing. The next night we were stopping them, you know, but
and Fargo's got, you know, the swamp, it's got big water. It's got some crazy, you know, the goldberries, everything. It's got some big ass pine roads where dogs are like, they're running it's almost like they're running on a skate park.
Yep.
Just running through them damn pine hills. I mean, because those pines, where they plant those pines is so high because it floods.
Uh-huh.
So it's not like just running, like you say, oh, I'm walking through the pines. Well, here you're walking in a flatter pine, you know, planted pine area. Down there, everything's on a pine road that's 2 feet up. You know, 2-3 feet up, at least where I'm running in Fargo. And it's like those dogs are just running on a skate park. Just, I mean, every pine road is full of water and full of gators and moccasins.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely.
It's awful. Them damn gators down there, them damn swamp chickens. Let's call them swamp chickens. Because
some bitches are everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, that was the first thing I seen. And I was like, good Lord. I was like, everything down here is going to run. And what doesn't run is going to eat you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
your dogs will carry your ass off.
Oh, dude.
Them damn mosquitoes down there are awful.
Yes, they are bad, bad. I laugh at everybody around here. They talk about getting bit by mosquitoes, and I'm like, I don't never get bit by a mosquito. I don't put bug spray on, nothing. Shit. The first night down there, I was like, give me some bug spray. Give me something.
Guys will get mad at the mosquito. You get pissed off in the morning as soon as you pop out.
Yeah.
Kind of low dogs up. They'd be all over your ass. And there ain't enough bug spray in the world to deter those mosquitoes. But
Shit,
golly,
So
it's awful. I blow my nose down there, and 15 mosquitoes will pop out.
yes, there's no doubt about that. It's they're thick, but like I said, it's a way of life there, and there's very few places like that anymore.
Oh, it's a treasure. That's what I love about it.
And I love it. Like I said, I can't wait to go back and get down there and see if we can't capture a hog or two. You know, I don't know how we're going to attack it this time. I have a feeling there probably will be a rough dog or two involved. I ain't going to lie. We're going to shut this shit down. But if I do, it's not going to be like putting it to the bay dogs. I'll just, I'll road hunt them rough ones around, and we'll try to snag one real quick. And then I'll boast about it a little bit and say, ha, look at what I did, and act like I really done some shit, you know. And then I'll put them up and let everybody else do all the hard work.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is, like, you know, all them hogs down there ain't a whole lot of big hogs down there. Like, you know,
Yeah.
You're not going to win a competition on size down there, but they got some good teeth,
Mm-hmm.
and they're athletic as hell.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they can run.
A
lot of
they can
small ass,
move.
big shouldered hogs down there.
Yeah,
they can move.
And that's the thing, they're built like a mountain hog. Like you said, small
Yeah,
ass,
they
big
really
shoulders. But they hit that flat
Yep.
ground, and man, they can roll.
Yeah, they're like a short-haired mountain hog.
Yep.
They do fine in the mountains. And when you catch a trophy down there, guys, you feel like you've done something because they can run so much, you know, especially if you actually, hell, last year we caught a couple of, with just my one or two dogs out of mine, just during bear season. And I remember in the middle of a clear cut, just that hog just sitting there because he had no nuts left. And I'd never been more proud in my life. Them dogs was getting mad, like, you ain't running no more. That hog had no nuts left, and just that hog sitting there waiting on, you know, I walked up to him with a bulldog, watch him in a clear cut. He just didn't want to run no more.
That's good
You
there. Now, for
like
anywhere.
people would call that a rough dog. That, to me, that's not a rough dog. That's just a good bay dog.
That's right. Man, I like that. That just, you know, and being able to do that in places like that, that really shows a lot about what you're producing. Now, all right, so
I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I love it.
Getting to the back to the dog part. On your dogs, like, what are you looking for, and at what age for these dogs to have you found something that's consistently turning on by a certain age? What kind of things are you kind of looking for in them to show you? You know, some people are like, you know, they want their dogs to be going at a year old or whatever, you know. Just, I didn't know what you had as far as that outlook.
The benefit of line breeding and having your own line of dogs is you're reproducing itself. So it's easier to pick and see certain traits in those dogs that, you know, at 6 months old, I can pretty much call that litter and tell you what's going to work and what not.
Yeah.
Because I know what to expect. It's the same blood. If I get a dog from you know, you're only as good as your next outcross. You know, you can line breed all you want to. Mm-hmm. You still got to have some hybrid vigor and an outcross, which is where I kind of been with the plot. You know, Laurel Mountain, Ira Jones, and all that. I'll breed one of those dogs in. Those dogs typically will take a little longer. If I'm raising just a straight plot or something like that, I know, you know, I might give them more time because, one, I'm not raising a whole yard of these things, you know, and they might, you know, the guy might tell me, hey, they might turn on at a year old or 18 months old. Whereas if my dogs aren't really, if they're not really go-getting at a year old, I call them because my line is early starters. I breed the early starters. And at 6 months old, they need to be showing me something. I mean, I'll call dogs as early as 6 weeks just to, like, I know that trait. I don't want it. Yeah. You know, just certain things. And that, you know, even health or whatever, or, you know, even odd things. I'm like, I've never had that. You know, I don't breed for color, but there's occasionally a color of dog in my line. I'm like, hey, I don't want nothing to do with that no more.
I got you.
But for some reason, that color never turns out just through my genes. I understand. I can go back to these dogs. You know, God, great grandfather. I've hunted them. So that's where you get the benefit of running your own line of dogs. If I'm just getting dogs from other people, I'm going to be more patient with them because I don't know. You just don't know. Some dogs turn on at a year old, some at 18 months old. I do know that if a dog turns on a 2-year-old, if he turns on, that's great. I still don't want anything. I'm never going to breed to that 2-year-old dog that took 2 years to turn off or turn on.
Yeah.
Because that's 3 years. I mean, that's a long time to wait on a dog just to show me something.
Yes.
And there's a lot of lines out there that like, hey, they really turn on at 2 years old. Well, how long do dogs live for? I mean, an old timer told me, hell, at 2 years old, he better be tired and wore out. I mean, for me, I like early starters, and what I've learned of my line of dogs, and this is just me, is that from a year old to 18 months old, I'm very careful with them because they're really confident because they haven't been wrecked. So they start learning how to find hogs or bears or whatever on their own. And they get overconfident because they don't understand that that animal can whoop the shit out of them if it wants to or kill them or whatever like that. And the problem is they're mentally mature enough to go run stuff and have a good time, but are they mentally strong enough to handle a bear whooping?
Yeah.
And that's, a dog that's 2 years old and has had a battle, he understands he'll bounce back. If you get like a 6-month-old pup whoop, he might not ever come back.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It's just mentally, and I see a lot of people, I get mad at the guys I get dogs to, I get mad. I'm like, hell, that dog's 6 months old and you got him on bears already. Let him calm down, just pick your hunts, pick your hogs, pick your bears, and but then again, a lot of people, they're really pushing those young dogs because they need something. I don't. I got a yard full of dogs. I don't need that young dog to take somebody's place right now. So I could be more patient with them. And that's where, you start to realize, and I only realize that about dogs because I've ruined dogs. I'm not perfect. I've ruined a lot of dogs, especially early on. I've ruined them. And a lot of dogs are good in spite of me. I'm like, and that's where I've read to like, damn, I really tried to ruin your ass, but you still were a good dog. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's what a lot of folks don't understand when you say these things like you're talking about, like, damn, slow down, don't do that. They think you're just trying to be a know-it-all or whatever. No, it's because you've already done that and made that mistake.
I've already put dirt on that dog. Trust me, don't do it.
Exactly. And like I said, I find that one of the hardest things because, and I put myself out there by doing this in the public, and dealing with the public a lot. I'll get those people that'll call and ask a question, and then they'll tell you the answer. And boy, that's aggravating. It's just I'm like, damn, like, okay. And at the same time, though, it's like there's always that one that's going to listen. I ain't going to say always, but sometimes there's that one that will listen. And that's where you focus on. That's it. That's the one that you're going to send the dogs to, and that's going to be your handler or the guy that's going to hunt the dogs and give you good, honest feedback because he's wanting to do right by the dogs. He's not worried about himself.
Yeah. And that's where I'll give Carter a lot of credit. I mean, Carter and I can't talk about it too much, but he's taking some of these dogs across the ocean somewhere else to go run, to help out this project we're doing. And, I've ran Carter ragged and, he's bitched a little, moaned a little bit. I mean, that's typical of Carter, but I mean, other than that, he's been solid.
Well, I'm gonna start calling him BB.
Yeah, that's right. You call him BB.
You know what that is, don't you?
Yeah. We're gonna cross that N out. We're gonna change his brand.
Yeah, not BNB. It's BB, baby.
No, this is BB. That's old BB.
That's something good.
I've just thrown it in there.
Yeah. Hey, he. The past couple of hunts that we have we've come out from out of state. We went to Fargo and hunted. A couple weeks ago, we went to Milan. Is it Milan, Georgia, or Milan? Milan. Yeah, Milan. And Carter drove down to each place and stayed and hunted with us. He did not bring a dog. He was the first one to every hog, pretty much every time.
Yes.
I mean,
Wide open.
Yeah, like, I mean, wide open. Didn't matter what time it was. Stayed there from the time you drop dogs till the times you get them all up. You know, just being a hand.
Oh yeah, and him and Cody. I mean, they're going to be in it. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Cody will hunt all night. Carter will hunt all night. You know, depending on how many beers he's drunk, you got to wake him up a little bit. But,
yes, you're right. They would. Cody has drove me around to sleep. Cody has driven me while he's sleeping. He's good at it.
Yeah, great, best at it, and that's what I love to see. Those guys that are younger, you know, it's just like, okay, you know, because I was in my early years, I'd hunt, I'd get off work Thursday night. I worked, I worked 14 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. Thursday night, all the way up until Monday, I hunted. I'd pull into work with dogs cut up in the box, you know, and just work. And that's what you know, it just drive. I would drive and hunt multiple states every weekend, just drive and hunt. I would just eat up with it. And that's what I love to see younger guys like, okay, great. There's still people out there that are just ate up with this. It's just part of them. You can't shake it. And I love it. I love the passion and the intensity. And I love that they're a sponge. You know, they've been doing it a while. You know, after they do it for 5 years or so, a lot of guys think, oh, I know it all. These guys are still, hey, I'm still learning. And I'm still learning. If you think you've known it all, you're an idiot. I mean, I learn from the dogs every time I cut them loose.
And you should, like you said, that's both of those guys there. You hit it dead on it with it because they never claim to know everything, and both of them are pretty humble about their dogs.
Solid guys, you
know. And I'd send them a dog. Any of my dogs, you know, they probably don't want to hunt no shit I got for sure, but those would be the kind of guys I'd send dogs to, no doubt.
Absolutely. And Carter's going to be out there in the jungle somewhere with my dogs, and they're going to come back with some damn 1,000-yard stairs or something. I don't know. Good luck.
Yeah, ain't no doubt. Yeah, from what he told us he was going on a trip. Of course, he didn't indulge much in it, you know, but I think it with so many people out here hog hunting now, because I mean, it seems like there's more now than there's ever been, and for him to be able to go do that and do that as his job, that's amazing to me. It's like, you know, you get to do what you love to do, plus it's something that there's very few people ever going to get to do anything that resembles that. I think that's pretty wild there, you know?
Yeah. It's crazy how it's all come together. It's insane. I mean, he'll be, 8,000 miles away from here.
Yeah.
So, and he ain't never been on a plane before.
Oh, hell.
So, no, he's about to get all of his plane.
He's
going to be a changed man when he comes back.
Yeah, no shit. But you got to also stop and think about it, Kerry. Look at what that says about your dogs. I mean, your dogs are the ones that's going over there. That's
my dogs. As long as you ain't a turd, you're safe. They ain't a bunch of shit eaters. They're just really good at it.
I hear you.
Hey, I ain't never met a good dog, man. That I don't like brag. As soon as you brag on a dog, it either makes you a liar or dies.
Yep,
one or the other. So
I did. You know, I've done that shit to Rodney not long ago. He's talking about his little. Well, we went to Fargo that night. I was talking about his old dog Sally, and I said, now there'll be a lot of them that, you know, if they ride or go somewhere new, they might act a little weird. I said, but that bitch right there ain't. She's right as rain. That some bitch got out and went 25 yards and turned around and come back to the truck.
Yeah.
Rodney, as soon as I said it, he looked at me. He said, "Why'd you?" I said, "I'm sorry." And I mean, literally, just like that. And that was it for her. She said, "Nope, I'm done."
I did that. Having to do with Carter, I said, "Hey, this old bitch right here, she ain't the best, but she's unbelievably consistent." And I cut her loose.
Yeah.
She made one lap, turned around, she was sitting in the driver's seat of the buggy. She was like, "I want to go home right now."
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's so
she
weird.
ended up being sick. You know, she had something wrong with her.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like, damn, you know.
It holds true. Some form or fashion.
And that's what I love about it. You can brag, you can boast all you want to until you run them dogs. Until I see those dogs run, I mean, consistently, that's what I love about it. It's like it's up to the dogs. At the end of the day, it's up to the dogs.
Yeah.
And a dog's going to hunt. And people always get mad at me, non-dog hunters. I can't believe you make those dogs do that. So I wish I could make them do it.
Hell yeah.
It would be a lot easier on me if I could make them hunt. But you ain't going to make a dog hunt.
Lord, no. I mean, the only way you can't make them do nothing.
No, and there's a lot of dogs. I mean, you're pretty, but you're going to end up in the ground. I really wish you'd turn it on for me. I wish I could tell you what to do.
Oh, yeah, there ain't no doubt.
Yeah.
One of the very first blackmouth curs I got 2 females, 2 sisters, and I wanted them dogs to be the best. They were the picture of what I wanted. They looked the part. They were not.
They do look the part.
And I mean, they were beautiful. One of them.
We went down the same road.
Yeah, it was disheartening. And finally, one day I said, you know what? Today's the day. I had a bad day. Probably shouldn't have even been outside when I done that, But anyway, I walked back by that one gyp and I said, today's your last day. And I walked up to the house. Nathan and somebody else, I think Kevin was there and a couple other people. And all 20 minutes later, you hear all kinds of hell raising and the dogs loose in the pig pen down there. I said, oh, shit. So here we go down there. And that gyp had got off her chain, went down there, and was putting the prettiest bay you ever seen. If that hog moved, she'd grab his ass and set him down, turn him around. And I turned around and looked. I was like, damn, if that's all I know what I had to say, I'd have said that shit a year ago.
Oh, God.
But she was wide open. She was wide open on track, and we ran all completely silent dogs at the time. We still run. Our dogs are about 95% silent. They'll yip here and there if one gets up in front of them, or if it's real hot, one of them might yip a little bit. And I let a guy have her, and she made a hell of a dog. But it was the other one. She didn't make it, And that was out of a classic line that had been bred for 60 years, and it wasn't consistent.
No, and I've been down that road before, and I've had some that make it, but the majority of them didn't. And I was like, well, this is just too inconsistent for me. The ones that did make it got a place in my heart because they did a really good job, but it was like, even breeding those dogs, the puppies would be inconsistent. It just never worked out, and it just is what it is. But, good dogs where you find them. It goes back to culling dogs, and I've never lost sleep over a cull. If it's still walking around out there, I will until I cull it. But I've never lost sleep over culling a dog, but I have lost sleep over breeds I never did before. Yeah. And that, anytime you're mass reproducing animals, you've taken Mother Nature out of the equation. Mm-hmm. These dogs, especially bulldogs, bulldogs would not survive in the wild. They'd all be dead in a year because they'd all be hung on something and just dying on it. Yep. And anytime you take Mother Nature out of the equation, you have to pick up her responsibility in cull. Whether you're doing livestock, culls, anytime you're mass reproduced animals, Mother Nature, cows. You want the tastiest cows, you got to get rid of them shitty cows. Mm-hmm. So the same thing with dogs. And you want to, there's a lot of people who just take dogs and they'll just, I don't want this dog, I'm going to pedal it, I'm going to dump it somewhere. You need to have the responsibility to cull that dog, whether that's doing what we need to do or getting it sterilized and giving it as a pet, who knows? But no longer needs to be a part of the circle of moving to another dog hunter. It doesn't need to be a part of the dog hunting, working dog world at all anymore. No matter how you want to handle that situation, it does not need to be part of the circle. And like I said, anytime you take Mother Nature, you need to cull, be responsible owners. Don't dump dogs on somebody else's timber track, and you got wild dogs running loose. That's the worst thing you can ever do to a dog is just dump them. Yep. Be responsible, take care of it, and after culling, in order to achieve what you want, a cull will always come back to bite you in the ass. It's not fun to do. I don't enjoy doing it. I try to never cull out of anger or anything like that, but it's something that has to happen.
It's
And that's a big problem today.
yes, and that's something that's everybody will they'll talk about it a little bit, but they don't get in depth in it. Is there anything is there anything that you could tell some of the listeners, people that are breeding or wanting to start their own line? Can you go in depth anymore on culling, the reasons to cull, and what all to look for?
For me, the number one thing I call, if a dog's ill, towards people, kids, it's gone. I just don't. I might be a little bit relaxed to that towards some game dogs, just because I know what the breeding behind that, if I can control it. But if like a cur dog, especially is ill, bye, see you later. You are a four-legged liability. I don't want anything to do with you. You're probably going to chew up my good dog or bite somebody. You're gone. And a lot of people go, especially in today's world, they'll see all these dog whisperers on TV like, every dog can be saved. Well, not every dog can be saved. It's not like every person can be saved. Some are born a little touched. They got a little tism or something wrong with them. You can't overcome it. A dog, especially like a nervous bulldog, I will never have, because those dogs are liable to bite somebody. I'm not going to take a dog like that. When it comes to calling, I never call out of anger. I never call, like, oh, I'm going to call this dog. I give it time. I let my thoughts process. And it's not always what I consider a hard call is that dog's days of numbered. You see you later, you're not going to make it the next day. And then there's soft calls. Soft calls is a dog that I don't want to breed this dog. He's still a good dog. Maybe he comes out of a litter. Maybe he's, there's a lot of freaks out there. What I consider a freak is a dog that just is going to be a good hog dog no matter what. None of his litter mates are. You don't know where he came from, or I have a litter that's inconsistent, or maybe this dog isn't exactly what I want, but he'd be great for this person, and he's too rough. I'll give to this guy. I'm not going to put that dog back into my breeding gene pool, but I will let that dog work for somebody else, because the dog's still a working caliber dog. I do a lot of soft calls that way, like, hey, he's too loose, but he's a hell of a hog dog, but he ain't going to put teeth on the hog. How about, and that's where to be, open with, like, it's very important to those guys. Like, hey, I don't want anything to do with this dog breeding wise. I appreciate if you didn't breed it, but I can't stop you. You're a grown ass man, whatever.
Yeah.
But as far as the culling goes, don't ever cull in anger. You have to ask yourself, am I doing right by this dog? Am I giving this dog every opportunity? What am I doing wrong? It's never the dog's fault that it's culled. It's my fault, because I bred these dogs. I made the breeding. I raised these dogs. It's my fault. It's my responsibility. It's not the dog's fault. But at the end of the day, I can't feed 100 dogs. It has, God, if I kept every cull that I had, I'd be broke. Yeah. So it's not a fairy tale. And like I said, once you take Mother Nature out of the equation and start breeding these dogs, you have to cull, whether that is neutering and spaying them and sending to somebody, doing it the traditional way. I don't want to get y'all in trouble. Whatever it is, but you need to take it out of the equation. And the problem is these calls, people will peddle instead of like, I don't want to shoot this dog. Hey, come get this dog. It's free, or it's $100. I get dog feed.
Yeah.
Get that dog out of here.
That's right.
He bit my kid. They're not, if a dog bites a kid, and they'll hide it. Be like, oh, good luck with them. No, if a dog bites somebody, good luck. You're not, there's one thing to get bit at a hog cast by accident, but I'm talking about just an ill dog. Something's wrong with it. And I've rescued dogs, and the Lord knows everybody's been down the catch dog path of just finding catch dogs and all that stuff. And I've been fortunate enough. I got some really good catch dogs. Shout out to Don Matthews, American Bulldogs. I love a good big catch dog, and they've been great. My little baby girls, you go over there and tug on them, everything like that. They just melt in her hand. But you put them on a hog, they're straight business, and that's what I look for. And if a dog isn't going to work out, everybody, PETA culls more dogs than anybody. Yeah. But everybody gets their damn panties and up their ass about, oh, I culled this dog. oh, you didn't get another home. Like, well, I could have gave to PETA, and it cost everybody a bunch of money to cull this dog, but I took care of my own responsibility. You know, everybody's like, oh, don't breed. What's the term? Like, oh, adopt, don't breed. Well, if I take care of my own damn yard, leave me alone. You know, I'm not dumping dogs. I'm not turning them loose. It's a working dog. You know, if you had cows that tasted like ass, you're not going to keep breeding them.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Okay, here, you have this great ass burger, but I didn't want to kill them, you know, whatever it is. If your dairy cows, it tastes like, you know, sour milk every time, you're not going to keep them. So it's just the way of life. Mother Nature is the number one caller there is, period. She's a ruthless bitch. And the reason we're here, and everybody else here, is because we've all survived Mother Nature. And once we take those dogs, we start breeding them and babying them and giving them shots and making sure they got a place to whelp a litter and all that. We have to start understanding that we need to pick up the slack of Mother. We pushed Mother Nature to the side. We got to pick up the slack and cull these dogs.
Yep.
And it's a hard treat, but it is what it is.
It is.
And farmers, people who raise dogs, you get kind of calloused to death. A lot of these new guys, they've never even had a dog. And a lot of times you'll have a guy who's all gung-ho. They lose their first dog. They don't want anything to do with the sport no more.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard sport. It's a hard thing. And I always tell this to people. People always invite me, like, you know, hey, take me hunting. And I've done it in the past. I've done it. But as I'm getting older, I only want to hunt with people I don't mind losing a good dog with. Because I'm the most vulnerable you'll ever see me outside of family loss is when that good dog bites the dust, no matter how it happens. I don't want to be around people who don't respect that and don't understand it.
Yeah, that's a real good outlook right there, because that, and it couldn't be truer for guys that the guys that I know and that I hunt with. Everybody would be at their most vulnerable then, and show more
and we cuss
emotion.
These dogs, we make fun of them. We cuss them you know, everybody say, I'm gonna call this dog. Well, when that dog dies, and good Lord, your inner child will come out. I'll cry. Good Lord, I've shed some tears. Yep. And hell, I shed tears now just thinking about them dogs. And I respect it. If you don't cry over a good dog, I really don't want nothing to do with you.
I agree. 2 summers ago, we lost two of my main dogs in one night, and it was rough. I mean, everybody was. Everybody was poor old Rodney. I'm telling you, I thought we was gonna have to take him to the hospital. Like, I mean, it wasn't even his dogs. They were my dogs, mine and Nate's. But we hunt together. They're our dogs. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I mean, they were, before I knew him, I had those dogs, and then as we started hunting together, you know, he was around them as much as he was around me. And I'm the same way with the dogs that he had. Everybody knows Midnight and Sally. And I mean, if something happened to them, I don't know. Like, it'd be like losing my kids or something. Man,
oh my God.
And
that's hard.
If it doesn't bother you, like you said,
oh yeah, like I dread the day, like if anything happens to him or if he dies, like just when he's dead, when he's gone, it's gonna be, you can't replace that dog. I just have to get another one and hope it's that good.
Well, you remember I hunted with a certain
That's the hardest thing about them dogs that they don't live long enough.
No, they don't. I hunted with a group of guys for several years, and there was one or two in the group that was always kind of, you know, a little different, you could tell. And I watched that guy take a dog one night and do some stuff, and he just like, it was all just disregard to him. He was like, it's just a dog.
They're just disposable.
I never hunted with him again. I've only spoke to him one time in the past 8 years now. 8 years.
When you think
I spoke to him one time in 8 years.
If you ever have the concept in your mind that dogs are disposable.
Because what would he do to me?
Yeah. What
would he do to me? If we were in the middle of nowhere, he had the opportunity, and I did something wrong, am I disposable?
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. It might be a messed up way to look at things, but I'm like, that's not a good character.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You
and
know?
that's where people get clouded. They go, well, you cold dogs, you must just think nothing of these dogs. I'm like, no, I cold dogs because it's my responsibility.
Yeah.
The dogs that aren't cold are a piece of me, and every dog that I'll look on that yard and I just go, y'all are nothing but a bunch of heartbreaks waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you have to come to terms with. It's just, and that's the hardest thing about dog hunting through the years and generations is just constant heartbreak.
Yeah,
and when that dog dies,
and I feel like it's not even just with hog hunting, like you said, just dog hunting in general.
Mm-hmm.
Just so many different things can happen to a dog.
I mean,
there's 1,000 ways for. I've lost more dogs over just stupid shit than hogs or bears. Golly.
I went through this phase. I was going to retire dogs, right? I said after I lost a couple of my old dogs, I said, well, I'm going to take these other ones and retire them. Well, that was stupid. You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus, come on. Because like something off the wall happened and had a dog get killed right there. The stupidest thing ever. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. If they're physically able to go hunt, we're going to hunt it till the end.
If they can pull hide, I'm going to let y'all hunt.
That's exactly
right. And
right.
I've done the same thing. I retired a dog, and then he died. And one of them died of cancer. The other one, stupid shit. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I'm never doing that again. I wasted that dog's last few moments not hunting them, just kind of being selfish. Because I was too scared of the heartbreak.
That's it.
And I was selfish.
Yep. That
dog wanted to hunt, but I was too scared of the heartbreak. And that's what you have to come to terms with. If you die pulling hide, you die on the hunt, by God, we'll do it. That's how I want to go out.
Yep.
So I don't want to.
Exactly right.
And it's a maturity aspect of a dog man is to go, okay, you can protect your heart all you want to, but all these dogs are going to do is break your heart. That's why I try to tell people, like, if you really want to get a dog hunting, make sure you can handle the heartbreak, because no woman in this world can break your heart like these dogs can. No. I mean, it's rough.
Not when you love it. I mean, it's
the memories that they create.
It's not the same for everybody. There's guys that get in it, like you said, they might stay in it for a few years, and there's some of them that they were born and raised in it, and they still don't love it a certain way. And then you have
and them dogs that grow up like the first good set of dogs you have, especially if like in your late teens, your 20s, those dogs when they finally, those are your worst heartbreak. Because they've matured with you.
Oh, dude, I was quitting. When I lost them, I was, fuck this, I quit. I don't ever want another dog.
And there ain't no pill, there ain't nothing you can do to numb that pain.
Nope. I sit right there.
Nothing out there.
Holding IV bags and trying to hold lungs back in and arteries and all this shit. They went out with their boots on. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to do this. And I think I had one or two left. And Nate, he told me, he was like, well, what are you going to do with them? I was like, I don't know. You were pretty, 7th grade maybe? He was real young anyway. I was like, well, I don't know. I started giving away. He's like, no, let's keep them. We'll go hunting later on. And then I just kept going then, I realized, I was like, if I can make it through this, it'll be all right. But
well, I mean,
it sucks.
Running dogs has made me appreciate life more.
Mm-hmm.
Because a dog's only got a certain amount of years on here. He's a fraction of your lifespan, and you can learn a lot from how that dog lives its life as far as the energy it puts out for you. And, the best thing you can do when you lose a good dog is load back up. Just keep going.
Yep.
Just keep going, because that dog wouldn't want you to quit. So, it's a rough deal, and that's where you'll come to find people. A lot of people quit after that. Like, if you see an old dog, man, just know he's had some heartbreaks. And like you said, if they don't care about the dog, they probably ain't much of a dog man to begin with.
That's right.
If they just are there using it as a tool, it ain't. If they're my hunting buddy, I got more memories. I spend more time around these dogs than I do people. Yes. And most of these dogs don't even know that there's a whole world of people out there. Most of these dogs just realize, hey, there's just me and a couple hunting buddies. and they give it all for us. And I've been blessed with hunting buddies. I better shout out to them. I mean, I've been lucky as far as dogs dying and all that. My best friend's a vet who runs dogs with me, and he's got his own dogs. He hunts my dogs. I give them, and I've been the last 15 years. I have been spoiled rotten with hunting with a vet. So I mean, I bought him a buggy, Garmin collars, all that stuff. That's how much money he saved me. He's watched me cry like a baby. He's cried like a baby, like you said, over my dogs.
Yep.
Because they're our dogs. When you hunt with your hunting buddies, their family, them dogs don't know any different. They're your dogs, they're my dogs. We all hunt together. We all share the same good feelings and bad feelings, great men. I've had the worst times and best times in the woods, and I keep going back.
Yeah. And I think that's something that I have found that has really, I don't know, I'd like to say it surprised me when we started doing this podcast and started talking to other dog men, is the emotion that nearly everybody carries that we've talked to has been like that. It's a true love, a true passion, a true emotion. And it's something that's not talked about that often. You know, there's a lot of guys that they're never going to say, "Oh yeah, man, I cried," you know, when I lost my best dog, because they want to put on that tough guy look. But
they just can't. You know, for me, like I've never made a Facebook post, nothing about remember this dog. There's no words that I can adequately. I haven't been asked to write articles about dogs that died. I can't do justice by this dog. Mm-hmm. I can't. There's no words. The best justice I can do was the tears that I shed over that dog. And a lot of the macho guys, you know, and that goes to the problem of how we were supposed to be raised. Men are not supposed to have emotions, whatever. When it comes to a good dog, good Lord, cry. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, that's your that dog giving you everything he had. Even if he was sorry as a sloppy biscuit, who cares?
Yeah. If it was your dog and you love the dog, then I mean, that's
all that matters.
Yep.
And that's why we keep doing it. I mean, as much as I hate losing them good dogs, that's why I line breed. I love seeing, I never truly lose them old dogs when they come back out and they're pups, they're great grand pups, whatever. Yeah. I love the line breed. I can still, like, oh, there he is. He's still hunting with me.
I agree.
I love it.
The guys that I started with, they had a certain couple of dogs, and that's what we based all ours off of. We were lucky enough to be handed down past the same dogs to me, you know, when he got out of it. And the great grandchildren of his dog, every one of them strike the same exact way. It sounds like the very first dog I ever fucking hunted with.
Golly,
I'm talking about do they not, Nate? Now, and it's funny. It's crazy because there's a one running bear right now in North Carolina, Mr. Kiefer, and these are York Terriers. They're a bigger line. They're the Dixieland line of dogs. They're like a smaller cur dog, but they're not the imported lunatics, you know. But
those imported ones are damn lunatics.
They're crazy.
For sure.
Now these dogs were bred by Mr. Scott Alses, who started them, and I wound up getting them from Clay Austin.
They're a bigger dog, ain't they?
Yeah, they're bigger. Like Oscar's 42 pounds, and I mean, he's tall, leggy. I mean, he'll rig off the box. They hunt more like a cur dog than anything else. But now he was raised with hounds, but I went and got him and hunted him for a few years. Mr. Kiefer's the one that raised him. We brought him here, and the first time he struck, it literally made the hair on my neck stand up. I didn't know. I thought I was right back to the first dog. I turned and looked at him. I was like, can you believe that shit? And all it is, it's the same exact dogs. And we had papers on them and keep up with which ones are which. But the same 4 dogs that I started out with, he goes back to those 4 dogs on top and bottom, every way you can do it. And that's been in almost 20 years, you know. And so that line breeding, like you said, it gives you a little piece of that. Them old dogs come back in a lot of ways. Yeah. And I never really looked at it like that.
Yeah, and that's what I hope, you could give these dogs out, but like, Cody, like, I got a good friend, Thomas Harris in Texas, we've been breeding dogs together with, and it's just comforting to know, there's about 100 and something of these dogs out there. And just to know, like, if I died today, that there's still blood out there, I want it to continue. Yeah. And, there's not too many things in my life where I want that, but it's just like I put in so much, I've sacrificed so much, I've put in so many tears, blood, sweat, whatever. I want these dogs to continue, and I hope we still live in a world where they're allowed to continue.
Yeah.
And like I said, if they're not, I hope they fall in the hands of some good outlaws. Because, the day that, world's crazy these days. So I don't know.
It's ever changing. That's for sure.
All I do is I go run. I feel a lot safer when I just go run dogs and cut off the phone and news and all that. I just go run dogs. The world's a lot better place when you're just running dogs.
Yeah. And, that's the thing, that I read an article this week, first part, or maybe last week, where they're going to do away with the hog hunting in Kentucky. Yeah. And they've already done it in several states. You're not allowed to hunt them. I mean, not even still hunt, like. Yeah,
like Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri.
Alabama, y'all can't even have a bait pen in Alabama.
No, we can't have live hogs at all here. And now when I was hunting, when I first started hunting, the first few years, you could do whatever. It was open. And then all of a sudden, one year they said, hey, we can't move hogs off the property. And we were like, what do you mean? They're like, well, you can catch them, but you can't take them off the property. You can keep them alive. I was like, well, okay, well, that's stupid. And then the next year they were like, okay, you can't have live hogs at all. And then the next year you couldn't night hunt. They took night hunting away completely.
Oh my.
Yeah, what did we went? Was it 2 years? No night season. You couldn't night hunt at all. Now we have a season.
Yeah, because they gave us a special nighttime season and they had it closed to where you couldn't nighttime hunt at all.
Well, the first 2 years when they took it away, they had no night
on hunters.
Yes.
That's just an attack on hunters. That has nothing to do about hog population and control. That's an attack on hunters.
They waited till every county had hogs. They said, we're trying to keep the hog population from spreading. The year that the statistics came out and said all 67 counties or however many counties it was, I don't even remember, every county in Alabama has hogs now. The next year is when they done away with it. I was like, well, now they waited till all of it's populated. And that made no sense.
No. It's just people with crazy ideas. The way I was raised was you might not like something somebody's doing, but if it ain't hurting you, you don't need to outlaw it.
Yeah.
I might not like people who rollerblade. I'm not going to ban it. So
I don't like them rollerblades.
Just because you don't agree with dog hunting doesn't mean you need to ban it.
Yeah.
And that's what it all comes. As hunters, we need to realize, still hunters, whatever, we all need to band together. And I don't know if it'll ever happen, but as dog hunters, whether you rabbit hunt, whether you hunt Easter eggs with a dog, I don't care. We all need to come together and have some sort of unity in fighting this. And because it's getting harder every year. I've never seen something taken away from us, given back to us.
Yes.
And it's terrible. And I want these younger guys to know, or just people getting into it, that this is sacred to us. We need to fight to protect it. Mm-hmm. I fully believe like these Darmans have created the longevity of our sport. Because if we were still on beep collars, we would have been outlawed a while ago.
Okay,
and
what you just
these
said
Darman
about
collars have helped us.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, what you were saying about stuff that's taken away is never given back.
No.
We have been the exception to the rule 3 years ago. Here in Alabama, of all places, they took the running deer dogs out in a lot of areas. Well, because of the Garmin handheld system, a couple of guys that I know, one or two of them, they took an ag commissioner and 2 or 3 other people out, carried them out to run deer dogs. A couple of the guys are hog hunters. All right, so they carried them out with all these dogs and showed them that these dogs go to a certain area. They tone them, and the dogs stop and come back. And they gave us back, I don't know how many acres and how much property that we can hunt again with deer dogs.
That's amazing.
They gave it back. And listen, the deer hunters are the ones that benefited. And the hog doggers were the ones that helped them. But now we haven't seen that reciprocated yet.
No, we are always the bottom of the.
Now our Dog Hunters Association, one of the chapters, they started putting on an annual hog hunt with dogs. So that is a step in the right direction. But at the same time, whenever there's a new law that comes out or a new bill or whatever is being put out to go to Congress or to the House, then they need to be present and support us as well, to reciprocate that. So
absolutely
it can happen with the right amount of support.
I've had people call me, you get all these phone calls like senators calling you and, like, support me even locally. I'm like, well, what's your views on dog hunting? They go, what?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I care about. And we just need to be heard. There's a lot of dog hunters. You'll meet the best people and the worst people. There's hardly an in between when it comes to dog hunting. You either meet the best people or the worst people. The best people, we all need to kind of get together. And a lot of us dog hunters are hermits. There needs to be a study done on the psychology of dog hunters, the ones that, do it for their whole lives. It's the truest American you'll ever meet. And we need to kind of bind together, like, hey, I might be a hermit up in these mountains, but we all need to come together. There needs to be some sort of board that connects all these states together.
Yes.
And to help us. And I don't know what the catalyst needs to be. I'm not sure it'll even happen, but that's what we need because we're getting outpaced by everybody who hates us. And everybody who hates us doesn't understand us. And I used to just waste breath trying to get these people to understand us. They're just, a lot of them ain't. They're just,
No, they don't, they're not interested at all.
They just want to hate some. They hate us. They grow up with these Disney brains of just every animal has a voice, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's just, that's why I appreciate life more now because I run dogs and especially big game dogs. Mm-hmm. But, I love talking to like-minded people and I try to help the next generation. I try to give dogs out to people that are coming up. I try to steer them in the right path. You don't necessarily need to take somebody hunting to get somebody started. And, especially with today's, and I don't know if it's today's or just some people are shitty. You get gun shy about taking people hunting because next thing you know, they're over there poaching your plate. So, it's a rough sport and it's competitive. You want to have the best dogs and you're competitive. And I know people who are like, I'm not going to give any dogs locally because I don't want to compete with my own dogs. I've always thrived on competition my whole life. Compete with me. It'll just make me better. But don't stab me in the back and go hunt my spots or pedal these dogs out underneath me or whatever. So, it is what it is. But I'm glad y'all making this podcast because it's a voice for us. There's a lot of voices in this. Carter is a good young voice. Ryan, all those guys, Cody, all these young guys coming up. There's good seeds growing, and I hope to continue this, and I hope to continue it. But just being a great voice for our sport and our traditions and our way of life, and fighting for it. Fighting as good as these dogs fight. That's all we can hope for.
That's it. That's well said. Very well said. And like you said, there's a lot of younger guys out there that's doing this, and they're in the public eye. They're on social media and they do all this. And there's a lot of guys that are my age and older, and they don't necessarily see that. They don't see why they do that. They're like, why are they doing that? Well, that's the way the world has changed, and that's the route that you need to go. They can reach more people by one TikTok video than we can our whole lives talking from one guy to the next.
Absolutely.
And so as long as it's done in a positive light and everything like that, I'm all for it. But you can get caught up in all the bullshit that's on there just as easy as the next guy. But if you got enough like-minded people together, Mr. Dean Ross, he said something too a while back about, you know, how we preach about trying to save our, you know, our heritage and band together and fight together. And that's true. We need to do that, but we don't need to be ashamed of our culture either. Like there's a lot of people that won't show a video or they won't post it because they're like, well, so-and-so might not like it because I'm run dogs. Hey, if that's what you do, that's fine. As long as you're not showing any of the bad stuff, because there's bad stuff that happens. It doesn't happen every time, but don't show stuff that doesn't need to be seen.
Don't advertise it.
That's right. But you can be proud of running your dogs. We post videos all the time, and it never even shows the dog putting teeth on the hog. You know, it shows the everything else, but we try to do it to where, hey, we're not going to offend anybody, hopefully. But at the same time, we're still going to do our
squealing.
Yeah.
You know, that hog gets to squealing. All the women folk are just, I mean,
that's right.
Internally, they think of a baby screaming or whatever. You know, that hog gets to squealing or whatever happens.
Yeah.
You know, early on in my career, I was meeting with Georgia Federation hunters. I can't remember the exact name. And they were like, y'all just need to take all this stuff off of YouTube and social media. And I was trying to tell them, I said, listen, social media is growing and it's going to continue to grow. The best thing we can do, like what you said, Mr. Dean Ross said, embrace it, show the positives of it, make sure we're not showing terrible stuff.
Yeah.
But put us into, you know, when you go to sleep at night, you don't think about that terrible stuff when you're trying to have a good drink. You think about the positives of, that's right. What I do. Every time I go to sleep at night, I think about dog hunting. And that's what I want to broadcast to the world, is all the positive about all the kids that we take hunting, all these youngins that right on top of the box, like fleas, you know, taking them hunting, having a great time. And it's not even about the game anymore. It's just about the culture and everything. Show that aspect of it. And
that'd be the best thing, you know.
And I think, you know, we're on social media, 100%, we're getting there. The biggest thing is all you young dumbasses out there, quit getting jealous over these young guys being famous on social media.
Yeah.
And step up to the plate.
Get famous yourself.
Don't hate on all these young guys.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I tell everybody. I'm like, well, they got so many followers and blah blah blah. I was like, well, get you some of them if that's if it's bothering you. I said, if you attack it in a like-minded manner, you'll find that. And we've had this same conversation on here a few times. We've had some negativity from other people that were like, oh well, it's just a clique of all y'all. Celebrities and all. I was like, no, we're just guys that run dogs. We just go to hunt with each other. All you got to do is get your ass in the truck, spend you a few $100 on fuel, and you go hunt with us.
Hey, I'm gonna run with or without you. Might as well be with me.
That's what I'm saying. But you better come on, because we're not going to wait on you.
No,
we're going to turn them loose.
If you're hating on people your age, young guys hating on Garrett McCoo, whatever his last name is, hating on him for catching hogs, ask yourself, why are you hating on him?
Yep.
It's because you're jealous. And if you're jealous, do something about it.
Yep. Well, that's
Get out there and go run the dogs.
We don't need a participation trophy.
No.
That's the problem.
And dog hunters are notorious for stirring the pot. We all need to stir the pot in the right way of making sure we're protected, you know, with our rights and all this stuff. Quit turning against each other. Dog hunters, golly, it's the youngins out there, even them old guys. I'd like to say it's just young guys. You go to any dog hunting club or whatever.
Right. It's all ages.
Yeah, and I've tried to avoid it as much as I can, but I mean, hell, bear hunting especially, it's very cliquish. People get their feelings hurt. The only thing I'm jealous of is if your dinner looks better than mine. I mean, I want to eat what you're eating.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Oh, no. Man. And I wish more people had that view.
You mentioned on here something you want to talk about was old dogs hunting. And that's something I hunt. A lot of guys that breed, when their dogs get old, I know a bunch of them, and I'm a sucker for an old dog. They will get rid of those old dogs while they still have some good career left on them. And nothing wrong with that. They'll give to somebody, and that'll be the best dog they ever had. That's great. I'm selfish, and I'm a sucker. I'll feed an old dog until until he dies. And I'm bad about that. A lot of old dogs, but when you hunt old dogs, there's a couple things to remember that dexamethasone, vetprofen, meloxicam, prednisone, those do wonders for those old dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Before you hunt them, after you hunt them. Feed them right. Don't stress them out, hunting them in the worst conditions you can think of. Also, that them old dogs' mentality is different. Them old dogs have spent their whole lives being number one. You hunt with I've seen a lot of old dogs shut down because the young dogs, they just can't keep up with the young dogs. They're just like, well, hell, they kill quit.
Yeah.
Make those old dogs puppy starters. Hunt them differently, but just be mindful that a dog's age comes a lot faster than yours.
Yes.
And the joints, all that stuff, give them supplements. But, like I'll have some old dogs, they're good for the first 2 casts. After that, I put them up. They want to be out there, but they mentally are upset that they can't keep up with them younger dogs. And people will be like, oh, I don't believe you. It's the psychology of dogs. Older dogs will get defeated mentally not because of the hog, not because of the bear, because they can't compete with their own offspring.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've seen that firsthand.
And I'm the same way.
Yeah. Well, it gets to the point where, like, if there's 3 or 4 guys mine your age and we're all hanging around the buggy talking while we got Carter and Nate and Ryan, they're all running out there getting the hogs. Yeah,
and they think, oh, we just out here having fun drinking beer at the buggy. Hell, you don't think you don't miss my knees?
Yeah.
I'd love to have some good knees that could run. I'd miss it. I hate you and your young body.
That's
Golly, it pisses me off. Watching Carter with his shirt off, I'm like, I used to be like that.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Man over there. Yeah.
Yeah, right. When I was your age, I'd cut through you like a buzzsaw.
Little bush baby.
I'm turning to the age where I'm talking old timer. I'm like, I used to be. That's my name is used to. I used to be.
I hear you. Oh my goodness, man, Kerry, this has been. I wish I'd have talked to you damn 15 years ago, man. I could have been out there and went hunting with you.
Oh, we gonna go hunting.
Yeah.
Especially we go down to Fargo. We gonna run them damn hogs with their Nikes on.
You damn right. I'm gonna bring something a little rough, chew on that ass for them.
Yeah. We're gonna let the young guys go out there with their good knees and ankles and everything else and let them go deal with that.
That's what I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna like, now we're gonna stop him, but y'all got to get there quick.
Yeah. We'll be on the radio. Y'all almost there. Keep going.
Oh man,
I'm a hell of a hot man for the young guys. Y'all doing great. That water looks cold.
Oh shit. Oh, well, you got anything else you want to discuss on this one, Kerry?
Oh, I think we've covered it. But just, hey, be a good steward of the sport. I say young guys. There's guys that are in their 30s getting into it.
Yeah, the young hunters, the guys that's new to hunting. Yeah.
Be a sponge. Respect the sport. Understand that it's a community and it takes all of us. And, hell, just go run them dogs. That's right. All I can say.
Run them. Well, man.
They want to be ran.
That's
and if you ain't got ones that want to run, go get some new ones.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they don't want to run, you need to get some different ones.
Yeah.
So, but we do appreciate your time and your knowledge on here, and it's been good talking to you. And we're going to talk to you some more a little later on, and we're going to get together and cut them loose.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. And I thank y'all for being a good voice for us. It's about time we've had a good podcast, another voice out there,
Lord. Don't say all that shit. You'll have some more wanting to kill me.
No, and also, all you guys listening, I don't sell dogs, so stop Facebook friending me asking for dogs. I don't sell them. If I want you to have a dog, I'll find you.
Hang it up. I'm getting one first, damn it. Y'all get in line.
I'll get y'all dogs, but y'all ain't going to have to buy it. But I ain't selling no dogs. So I want you to have one. I'll find you.
That's right. All right, Kerry. We appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you, Mr. Kerry.
Thank y'all.
All right. We'll see you, man. Have a good one.
All right. Take care.
Yep. All right. That's Mr. Kerry Brown on that one, dude. I like that guy there.
Oh, yeah.
Carter's told me a good bit about him. And, but like I said, I've heard of Kerry for years and years and years. And never really hunted that style of dog. So, I was like, well, if I'd hunted that style of dog, that's what I would have had. And there's been a lot of times through the years, that's probably more along the lines of dogs I should have been trying to run,
Might have been the better thing.
But it very well, especially back years ago, when we had a little bigger properties. But that's living and learning. But I think we did pretty good with what we had. So,
oh yes.
So all you listeners out there, appreciate y'all one more time. We're gonna keep them coming. As long as people will talk to us, we're gonna talk to them. If y'all have anybody in mind that you think would be a good guest on here, y'all let us know. Holler at me or Nate. Get with us and we'll see if we can't get them lined up. We like to have dog men and dog women of all kinds. Doesn't matter. It doesn't necessarily have to be hog hunting. It could be anything to do with running dogs. Veterinarians, general health care, fox hunters, I don't care, whatever. They can have cow dogs. It don't matter. As long as it's about dogs and hunt, or even work dogs. Y'all get with us and let us know. Y'all make sure to check out all our social media stuff. We started anything that we post on our Instagram page has been going to the Dixie Dogger page on Facebook and vice versa. We're trying to post more on that because a lot of it was going to my personal page. So we'll get all that. Y'all go on there and check all that stuff out. Go to YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Nate's been putting some videos up, so y'all go watch them, check them out. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe and all that shit. And if you don't like listening to us, I'm sorry. I don't really care.
We'll try to do better next time.
We'll do better next time. And for all the regular listeners out there,
thank y'all motherfuckers.
We love y'all motherfuckers. We love y'all so much.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much. Till the next one. See y'all.
Thank you. Hope y'all enjoyed that episode. Stay tuned for our new episodes every Monday and Wednesday. For questions, advertising, or just to chat, email DixieDoggers01@gmail.com.